Welcome to the Future of Structures podcast, where we talk to the experts who are evolving our buildings for tomorrow. And here is your host, Adam Jones.
I just had a great conversation with David Rosenberg. So he's a serial entrepreneur. He co-founded and leads Aerofarms, which is a clean technology company that builds and operates advanced vertical farms in urban environments. So these guys are the world leaders in vertical farms. So they've been recognised as a Circular Economy 100 company, and they won the World Technology Award for the most impactful environmental company. So in this conversation, we talk a lot about the technology of vertical farms, where it is now, where it will be in the future, and the problem that the world faces with food if the status quo doesn't really change. So these guys are doing extremely exciting work. I really enjoyed the conversation. I hope you guys do too. And without any further ado, here is David Rosenberg.
I started out of college working at one of these 2-year financial analyst jobs at a big bank in New York. From there, my best friend joined a fintech company. That's a financial startup where he became the CEO, and seeing him just essentially change an industry. It was the first ECN, electronic communication network, that was wildly successful. They grew to have 14% of NASDAQ's volume. So it really was the first electronic trading exchange. And I was just excited, inspired by how he disrupted this industry. And that got me to want to continue down this journey of disruptive innovation. I joined an Israeli incubator that focused on internet infrastructure. The one I was working with them specifically on was IP phony, calls over the internet, kind of like what we're doing now. And then from there went to business school, and from there I wanted to do something entrepreneurial before business school, which I tried during business school. It didn't really work out. And coming out of business school, I soon started a nanotech company. That was in 2002. That grew. I led that for just over 8 years until it was sold. And then coming that company, tried building a few other companies, and the one that felt like it had some legs to continue was Aerofarms, what is today Aerofarms.
Yeah, awesome, fantastic. So, what did you see in food?
Inspired
in food. Sorry, I'll cut you off there.
Well, I was going to say, so what inspired me on Aerofarms in my nanotech company, there was a focus on water. Well, what the company focused on was waterproofing and corrosion control in construction. And being involved in that space, I learned that a lot of our water, because I was waterproofing, so I was involved in water infrastructure, and a lot of our water, 70% globally, goes to agriculture, and approximately 70% of our freshwater contamination comes from agriculture. So it became clear, if one wants to solve water, solve agriculture. So this is what I like to say is the right way to build a business, where it starts with what problem do you want to solve. My nanotech company, frankly, was the wrong way to build a business, which is have a technology try and find a solution. I think this is the right way. Look for a problem. For me, it started very high level of water, and then looking in ag, and then I liked the trend of local food production, and from there saw within a category of leafy greens a big pain point, and a big way to solve the problem is look at high levels of pain. So in leafy green production, starting there, because there's high rates of spoilage, high rates of food, and to quantify this, in the U.S., it's 60% of product that comes off a farm spoils. High rates of food contamination, approximately 11% of all food contamination is leafy green related. Think E. coli, Salmonella, Listeria. High nutritional density per caloric intake. So think of Popeye and eating his spinach. It's a high, healthy category. High production consolidation. So there's a high sensitivity in this category of food. So therefore, it's grown in very specific areas. In the U.S., over 90% of the product is grown in what's called the salad bowl of the U.S., which is Northern California. And then also a relatively high prices per pound. So they're appreciating when one introduces a new technology, you want to be in a market sector that could absorb what's often that premium until there's a maturity or economies of scale that brings down the cost structure. So for a confluence of reasons, started off with like clearly identifying this is the problem, and then as a technology enthusiast, looking at what technologies to differentiate on. And I found in this space there's specific technology where one can differentiate, as well as the complexity and vertical integration is a big part of Aerofarms. And what I mean by that is, if you look at just our 120 people at the company, we have, on the engineering side, we have mechanical engineers, structural engineers, lighting engineers, electrical engineers, PLC engineers, process engineers, industrial engineers. On the plant side, we have plant biologists, plant physiologists, plant pathologists, molecular biologists, microbiologists.
Wow.
We have system designers, data scientists. So we have all of this like really bright people, a lot of like Harvard, MIT, Columbia, Stanford, these bright people coming together, as well as just like just people with like really deep industry experience coming together to solve problems. And the problems are mechanical in nature, they're biological in nature, they're operating in nature, they're these environmentally in nature, they're systems design problems. So it's very hard, and it's the vertical integration working internally as well as with external forces to solve problems.
Yeah, awesome. So you saw this big problem with food, and so what do you guys do for the people who aren't unsure what Aerofarms do? Can you just give us a spiel on what you guys are doing at the moment?
Yeah, Adam, I guess backing up. So we're a vertical farming company. We're the world leader in vertical farming. We define vertical farming as layer upon layer of growing. Different from like growing on a rooftop. This is multi-layer growing. We grow without sun, without soil. Instead of sun, we use light from light bulbs, and here we use LEDs, light-emitting diodes. Instead of soil, we use other growth media that could capture cold the seed and capture a moisture that the seed wants, and then we aeroponically mist nutrition to the root structure. So the roots, to envision what it looks like, the seed is on cloth, the roots dangle from the cloth. Roots want oxygen, leaves want carbon dioxide, so we mist nutrition to the root structure, and we develop a way to give the plants what they want, how they want it, when they want it. And when we grow the way like we're supposed to, we use 95% less water to grow a plant. Our productivity in areas like New Jersey, where we are, is as much as 390 times higher than a field farmer, meaning what we could grow on 1 acre, it otherwise takes 390 acres in the field. In places like Salinas, which is the salad bowl of the U.S., where you have 3 crop turns instead of 1, it might be 130 times higher. But the point is, because of our fast crop turns, because of the stacking nature of what we do and the crop density, you have tremendous productivity gains. And my biggest surprise in the journey is the taste and the texture. Whereas indoor growing is often criticized as a lack of taste, in conflict of that, and we're happy to say we have these fantastic tastes and textures, and these fantastic champions of world-renowned chefs saying, wow, Aerofarms product is the best I've ever had. So we recently launched a branded product to the supermarkets called Dream Greens. If you look at it, dreamgreens.com, that really celebrates those tastes and that texture.
Yeah, awesome. And with these vertical farms...
So our vision, our mission... I was going to say our mission is to build farms in cities all over the world so everyone has access to fresh, great-tasting, healthy food. And we grow them in warehouses, not greenhouses. So we go into a big like industrial or refrigerated warehouse, and we build these vertical farms that in a warehouse that's 36 feet high, you'd have 12 to 14 levels of plants growing.
Oh, wow. 13 or 14 levels of plants. So do you see this being in part of, as a part of cities, like in high density population areas as well, growing this food?
Correct. And we don't build them on Fifth Avenue, as you could imagine. So part of the cost structure is real estate. So by in cities, what is often makes the most practical sense is right outside the city to minimize the real estate cost of goods sold. There are economies of scale, so there's a relatively like a bigger footprint. You're able to spread out the costs of farm management as well as automation, and we have automation in seeding, harvesting, cleaning, packaging. You want to have a lot of production to utilize all of that investment in automation.
Awesome. And with the automation, are you utilizing any other, say, exponential technologies like artificial intelligence or anything like that on the horizon to make you guys be able to, I guess, disrupt the industry a bit quicker?
We do. We use AI and machine learning and different elements of that in different ways to improve our own processes. So we're making big investments in the data side and how we capture data. Both it helps us manage the farm and also improve what we call our algorithms on how we grow plants. We have a partnership with Dell that we're proud of that helps us capture information and the use cases of information, and whether that information goes to operations or food safety or R&D or finance or marketing, et cetera. And we are using other machine learning engines where we plug in the information into a machine learning engine that changes the algorithm at which we grow, how we get the plant what we wanted. And we're seeing like real performance benefits to that.
Yeah, awesome. So if you see
I have to be somewhat opaque because there's a lot of proprietary nature in how we use machine learning, but I'll leave it there. It's meaningful optimization.
Yeah, I can imagine. So if you see that we're going back a little bit now again, but if you see the status quo in the future doesn't change, what do you see the problems occurring in the future with traditional agriculture if nothing changes?
Part of the inspiration is understanding all these macro tensions in the world. So by the UN's estimate, we need 50% more food by 2050. At the same time, the world's lost 30% of its arable land in the last 40 years, 30% of its farmland. We already talked about how much water is going to farm contamination and farm usage, farm contamination adding to water, and all the water usage going to ag. So we need a new paradigm of how we're going to feed our planet. And we need to think holistically, whether it's technological innovation like Aerofarms or sometimes behavioral change, meaning, for example, moving to a plant-based diet over a meat-based diet as appropriate, just looking at inputs in and nutrition out. Another example is we need to think how much nutrition per calorie eaten, not how much calories are we eating.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of ways we need to solve these problems, and I think of Aerofarms in some way we are illustrative of innovation and thinking and behaving differently to solve these big macro problems.
Cool. And I take it you guys, is it a similar nutritional density for the food, for some of the green foods inside a vertical farm?
It can be more. It could be less or more. We're averaging the same. In the future, it's going to be more. And I equate it to like people in the sense of if someone were to measure like how many vitamins your body is comprised of, you could envision the different lifestyle you lead would change your composition. So if you eat healthier food versus eating junk food, it would be different. If you exercise, you'd have a stronger muscle ratio over fat ratio. In a similar way, we stress a plant what's called abiotically or environmentally to change the vitamin density, whether it's A, B, C, D, antioxidants, just by giving plants different things to eat. That could be nutrients and micronutrients. It could be, like plants like photosynthesis is from light, and it could be different spectrum of light at different intensities, at different frequencies. And that's all part of that algorithm that I mentioned.
Yeah, awesome. I actually read...
Aerofarms is as much a big data science company as anything else.
Yeah, gotcha. I actually read in a book a few weeks ago that the top 5 foods in the American diet, I think it's like number 1's pizza, 2 is beer, 3 is fried chicken, 4 is, something, and the top 5, it's all absolutely rubbish. So, hopefully everyone starts eating your greens.
Embarrassing.
Yeah. Well, I don't think
totally.
Australia is much different, to be honest.
And that talks about the behavioral change. I mean, that's a big part of it. One of our ambitions, we had a bunch of executives from a big supermarket chain come to visit us, and we bought all this salad dressing from their store that often their customers use. All this like very heavy, in fat salad dressing, and it's kind of ironic that people eat these very healthy greens and put all this unhealthy salad dressing on it.
Yeah.
And we encourage them to eat the food without the salad dressing. And speaking to my comment about the taste and the texture is quite unique and fantastic at Aerofarms, they tried the salad without the salad dressing, commenting that a few of them commented that they've never had a salad without salad dressing, and they all were equally amazed how good it stood up without the salad dressing. And again, that speaks to celebrating these new varieties as well as these fantastic tastes, as well as the freshness, as opposed to harvesting in one part of a country and transporting to another part of the country or even a different country.
Yeah.
And that's part of the value we think we could add to the supply chain, to the value chain.
Yeah, awesome. So do you have any examples of some of the projects or the vertical farms you've been working or any that's in the pipeline, and just give a little bit of a description on what it looks like?
I'll give you 2 examples of existing ones. And one is in Newark, New Jersey, where we recently built the largest, what we understand to be the largest vertical farm in the world by footprint, but also by output of baby leafy greens, which is what you eat salads out of, of what we're doing. So just the amount of output. So here it's in Newark, New Jersey, and there, besides its proximity to cities like New York City to serve a big market, it's also purposefully there to help alleviate a food desert. So people that don't typically have access to fresh food have access to fresh food, as well as alleviate, providing local jobs, as well as inspiring a community that's more economically depressed than some of its neighbors.
Awesome.
Another comparable example is, or along the same lines of social benefit, is we give free salads weekly at Aerofarms, and we noticed that people of a lower social economic demographic don't eat as much salads as people of a higher economic demographic. So there's a correlation there. It's just people with a higher education were brought up eating more salads.
Yeah.
And it's very hard to change behavior later in life. So inspired in part by that, we built a farm in a school, and it's the size of a car. And it was actually moved from a 5th grade science class to the cafeteria itself for K through 8th grade. It's run by the 6th graders, and it feeds kids. The 6th graders seed, harvest, eat. It's 20 feet from the salad bar in the cafeteria, and it's changing behavior where kids are eating the greens instead of the Doritos or the fries.
Yeah, that's
it's something
huge.
we're very proud of. And Michelle Obama, actually, when she was First Lady, found out about the positive impact, visited the farm, sent out really flattering tweets like, "Go Aerofarms, bringing the farms to the kids."
Yeah, wow, that's awesome. Yeah, you got to get in there early. What are some of the challenges you guys are facing at the moment into, I guess, doing everything at a much bigger scale?
A ton of challenges, and here the difference in scaling biological processes is really complex. So building a small farm is nothing like building a large farm. There are all these potholes and landmines that one has to manage around. And part of those are mechanical challenges, environmental challenges, as well as IPM, pest management challenges. There's just a host of stuff, operational challenges. So it's like we just built our 9th farm, and we're still learning a lot. And it's one of those things, like we could have never built the 9th one until we built the 8th one. And we're now working on not only our 5th model iteration of the farm, but also we have another group working on the 6th model of iteration. So I mentioned all this talent we have at the company. It's because it's still a maturing industry. It has a lot of maturing to do. It's a new industry. We're the leader of the industry, maybe by 2 years, but we still have a lot of learning to do. And what's exciting is it is a trend, not a fad. And we're fortunate that we have a lot of resources to make investments to continuing to innovate.
Yeah, definitely. Well, just speaking with you, it seems like an inevitable trend that, people are going to eat, the world population's growing, and then the land we can grow food traditionally, it's, not as won't be able to do it. So, eventually it seems like it might be the only way to feed everyone. So, sorry, go on.
I think solutions are going to come from many places. It's not like vertical farming is not the be-all, end-all. It's not the magic pill that's going to solve all our problems. Like what I said earlier, it's illustrative of innovation. It's illustrative of the solutions coming in different areas. We're proud to sort of inspire others to think differently. Field farming is going to continue to have its place. Greenhouse farming is going to continue to have its place, and we need to innovate and be better in both areas. Vertical farming is going to have its place, and the place is going to grow. So the costs are going to go down. The amount of varieties that could be grown vertically are going to increase. Yeah. But it's certainly going to take a lot of efforts, again, some behavioral, to solve some very significant challenges in front of us as like humanity, as society.
Yeah. And with each iteration, you mentioned you got 9 vertical farms at the moment. Is it getting cheaper and the technology getting better with every iteration at a pretty fast rate, do you think?
It is. So there's, some meaningful step changes that are coming to improve. Like right now, for example, we are working on automation between automated components.
Awesome.
So we have automation in seeding, harvesting, cleaning, packaging. We do not have automation between that. That's one of the next elements of design that's being integrated. So from that level, as well as more specific design improvements in what we call the grow towers themselves, as well as like biological improvements and how we improve that algorithm. So innovation is coming in a meaningful change, some incremental, some more transformational, but all over what we do. Awesome. Which is why this is a tough business to build, because we realize to be a great technology company, we have to be a great farming company, because being a farmer, being an operator is going to allow us to understand the changes we need to make on the technology side, as well as, because it's such a new industry, to be a great farmer, we need to be a great technology company. Yeah, so it's one of these tough places where to be great at one, we need to be great at both.
Yeah, fantastic.
And we see people that are just focusing on one or the other, they're having a tough time.
Yeah. As we move toward the end now, is there what do you think will have the biggest impact on our buildings and our cities in the future? And this could be for anything and not just vertical farms.
I love the way the sharing economy is interacting with communities. Like you look at cars, and people's perception of public transportation, and ultimately as society we need to figure out how to do more with less. And the connected society we're in, and how, like, whether it's robotics or data and data science, is unleashing like a lot of potential for innovation, new business models, and new, as well as circular economy thinking of doing more with less.
Awesome. Yeah, I hope that it ends up being, going that way as a circular economy. So if people want to find out more about you and what Aerofarms are up to, where can they find you?
Our website is aerofarms.com, AEROFARMS. We also have this other product, dreamgreens.com. And you could Google us, find out about more. And we're hiring like crazy. So it's so much as people are personally interested in joining our journey, welcome to reach out. We do have an effort of looking at projects in Australia. Awesome. There's a great farming community and tradition in Australia. We've hired people from Australia. And one of the people we hired, one of his proud moments, we had a group of about 20 Australian farmers come visit us. Yeah. And these are very proud people. And to hear him say it, they tried our product, and it was almost like through gritted teeth, said, wow, this is pretty good. And to him, that was like a meaningful moment where he realized, all right, like Aerofarms is like doing something really good if these farmers acknowledge that the product tasted good.
Yeah. Oh.
But the point is, we certainly look to figuring out how to engage more deeply in Australia.
I can't wait to see you when you're in Melbourne. And say if there's a developer right now listening, if they've got an existing piece of land, can they approach you, or do you buy the land and then build it yourselves like that?
It could go different ways, but we have like a business development team that works with real estate developers on how that could come together. It's often like the complexity of our environmental spec and integrating into an existing building is higher a level of complexity than one might think. But we've done it both ways in terms of retrofitting or from the ground up construction. But our team has kind of gone through that process of looking at buildings and knowing what questions to ask early on to figure out if there's...
Hey guys, Adam here. Just before you go, just one quick request. If you're enjoying the show, please leave a review. It helps our rating and ranking on iTunes, so more people can hear from the people who are making our cities better places for our future.